Okay. So today I'm planning on using 2 blocks and a strap and a stick, or if you're at home, a broom. Every day my wristwatch is 1 minute slower. And the technology is beyond me. How are your guys' bodies feeling? Any requests? Okay, nice, stretch the. I know, right? The low back, for sure. My friend is going to start like a yoga series for the low back. I was like, you should call it Gardner series. Melissa, can you hear me? Is everything perfect? Yeah, I'm glad you made it on. Okay, so today I wanted us to focus. Our focus is going to be mainly awareness and then skillful action, with the idea of how we are aligning ourselves moment to moment. So what our tendencies are is we have this like forward lean, and it is so indicative, that word, of this forward moving life we live, of like, what's next? And I'm in a hurry, and like, my brain's going to be what figures this out. And you can see it in our posture. And as we move forward like this, like I know in conversations, I do it. Like, I think I'm just so interested in the conversation. I want to be right there. Or maybe it's when we work or when we're driving, this tendency of moving forward. And what it does to the back body is it puts this overworked strain on it, because the muscles are put in this position of weakness as they move away from each other. And the muscles' job are to hold the body together. So all of the muscles on the back, even down the back of our legs, their job is to hold us upright in a way that we are centered over our brain and our heart and our spinal cord and our nervous system. It's this way of keeping us integrated as we move forward in the world without getting injured. But then in our habits or our tendencies, when we come here, these muscles that are meant to hold us together are now taken apart. And the way my massage anatomy teacher explained this just stuck with me. It's like, just imagine I'm a muscle, and the whole time you're like this. The muscles are like, no, come back together. I'm falling apart. I can't hold on much longer. That's just like how they live our entire life. And we're just like, oh, my back's a little sore. And they're like, my job is to keep this person together, and I'm failing. And then people come in to get a massage and they're like, my back is so tight. And it's like, well, it's not really tight. If it was tight, the muscles would be really held together. It's what is called taut, like stretched long, but constantly working. Meanwhile, the front muscles are tight. They're put in a short position, so they're extra strong, and they're never out of this position. So then even if we try to get our shoulders together, these front muscles are always going to be stronger, pulling us in. So we have to kind of battle it both ways. Open the chest while strengthen the back. There's that skillful action. But this idea I really like of where am I integrating into right now? And can I come back to center where all parts of me are aligned and integrated before I do things? Okay, so coming to your posture, you're probably already there because I talked for a while. And let your eyes soften down and see if, without changing much of your spine, normally when we notice, we're kind of like, we'll immediately sit up better. But can you take some exhales and let yourself soften towards your tendency? And bring your awareness to your tailbone, bone at the base of your sacrum. And as you inhale, let your awareness trace up through your vertebrae, your lumbar, thoracic, cervical vertebrae, all the way to the top of your spine. And as you exhale, let your awareness trace back down through. Just taking in the information of the way we're holding our center, our axis. And you might notice your head is further forward than the rest of your spine. Your low back might feel in a weird position. I can actually feel like an S curve as I sit towards one butt more. And then begin to push down through both of your sitting bones equally and lengthen up through the top of your head, creating a length through the spine. And as you get taller through the spine, let the skin soften and the shoulders soften. Notice where the roof of your mouth is in comparison to your tailbone. See if you can maybe move your throat back or your head back in a way that they're more aligned, they're more on top of each other. You might find you need to activate your core in order to create that. And with this kind of strength and length and integration, can you even feel like you're slightly leaning back and you're supported by your own strength? And connect to the feeling that's back here. For me, it's often patience. The stick leaning back is much more patient than I feel like I normally am. Awesome. Bring your hands up in front of your heart. Getting this remembrance of this position. This is how you're like meant to be positioned. There's a deep remembrance and wisdom in our body being able to take care of itself better when it's held up in this kind of line using the posterior muscles. Okay, really nice. Let your eyes open. Let's come down onto our back. Have your strap nearby. If you don't have a strap, when you come up and grab a strap, also get 2 blocks. Soles of the feet on the floor. Take one hand to your low belly. So one, like your pinky finger kind of above your pubic bone and your thumb to your belly button. And then your other hand, pinky finger towards your belly button and thumb up towards your sternum. Letting the elbows soften so your hands are taking in the information of what's happening in the front of your body here. Noticing if that we've talked about this these past few classes, these past few weeks, about the core being like a can, and that we'll collapse one side of the can, we'll sacrifice on one side to scrunch and the other side will get long. So my tendency here is that the back of my body kind of gets scrunched together and lifts, and the front of my body is extra long. So for me to make a strong can, I need to pull the back of my ribs down. So notice your tendency. Is that you? And you need to engage more of the front of the body, pushing down through the back of the body, getting that posterior chain active. Or does your butt come up? That's the other one, is the low back will kind of be round. And if that's you, push the back of the pelvis down, the sitting bones down. Push the heels down into the floor and then lift your hips up, bridge pose. Lift your chest up, lift your belly up. See if you can get a bigger stretch through the front of the body. This tends to be our tendency, getting the bigger stretch at the front of the body. Now let the hips drop an inch. Squeeze your glutes Pull the front ribs down and try to push the back ribs down. Even take one of your hands, let's take the back of one of your hands to your low back and the back of your other hand to the back of your ribs. And without letting the pelvis or the ribs come down, so an isometric movement, try to push your butt into your hands, belly stays in, and try to push the back of your ribs into the back of your hands. See if you can feel the strength you're building in the back body. Push the back of the head to the floor, shoulders down to the floor. Awesome. And then lower the butt down. Hey, straighten your legs out. Supta Tadasana. Activate your toes. Imagine you're standing. See if you can spread your toes and push them forward without letting them float. So it's like you're creating your own floor and you're pushing into it. Now try to push your ankles down into the floor. So we're trying to like exaggerate the flexion in the heels. And the knees are a mobile joint, so keep them bent. So for a moment, push your knees all the way down and see if you can lift your heels up. That's hyperextension. Push the heels down. Keep the knees with a little bend in them. Now push the thighs down, top of the thighs, push down to the floor. And you might notice as you push one end down, another joint gets mobile. The stability we're trying to create is not letting that happen. So if you push your butt down and your low back lifts up a lot, squeeze your belly in. Okay, now push the back of your ribs down. I like to Tarzan my front ribs to make sure they're strong. And then as the front ribs come down, can you feel your scapulas widen? Try to keep your scapulas on your back. Okay, and then squeeze the shoulders down. Notice when you squeeze your shoulders down, does something lift? My belly wants to lift. So again, I have to squeeze my belly. And then last one, push the back of your head, like the back hairline, try to push that straight down. Awesome. Stretch one arm up to the sky. Reach that arm up so much the scapula lifts up off the floor. So this is the tendency of reaching out of the back body. Now slide the head of the arm bone back down. So it's pulling towards the back body. Keep it there, but stretch up through the arm. Notice if parts of your body are turning off. So this should feel like some core work, keeping everything stabilized. Bring that arm down, second arm up. Reach it up, feel the shoulder come off of the back body, and then let the head of the arm bone squeeze down to the floor. Keep squeezing the head of the arm bone to the floor. Take your other hand to that side rib. So my left arm's up, put my right hand's on my left rib. Reach the left arm up again, and then squeeze it down. Notice when it squeezes down, does that rib pop up? Try to keep that front rib pulling down. Feel this leaning and this strength of the back body. Awesome, and release. Whew. Soles of the feet come to the floor. Grab your strap. Maybe put your sacrum on the floor and then wag your butt side to side. You get kind of like your glutes to sway over your bones. Strap up your left foot. Take your left foot forward so that your knees are in line. Take your foot, the strap right in the middle of the arch of the foot, and then use your hands and try to pull the head of the femur bone into your hip socket. As you do that, does part of your body pop up? Do you lose strength in order to get that? Try to keep pulling in while the core is strong, shoulders are back. Now keep pulling in with your strap, but now start to push out with your foot at the same time. Now with one strap in each hand, begin to saw your foot. So one strap pulls in and then the other. So frictioning through the sole of the foot to try to take it down towards the front of the heel and then up towards the ball of the foot. And take it all the way up to the ball of the foot. Reach your leg more up towards the ceiling now. So the foot more to the ceiling. And then pull the toes back. Trying to keep the leg straight, core, and trying to get more flexion through the front of the ankle. Push up through the back of the heel. Maybe see if you can spread your toes as you do that. Let your foot overpower your arms and then begin to floint your foot. Push up through the ball of the foot. Stretch to the front of the ankle and then use your hands. Pull the ball of the foot back, ankle flexion. Push up through the ball of the foot, point. Pull back. Okay, take both of your straps in your left hand. Right hand on your ribs or on your belly. Notice, where are you coming away from the floor? What part of the body is like so excited it's coming forward? Use your strength to pull yourself back. Okay. Keep your ribs in and try to keep them even. Begin to open your left leg up to the left. Only go as far as you can maintain your core neutral, and then bring your leg back up. Left leg lowers out to the side, core is squeezing. And then bring it back up. One time, open it up. And keep it there this time. And with your hand, pull in at the foot. Try to get that pull in to help you anchor through the pelvis. And as you pull in through the left pelvis, push out through the foot through strap. See if you can stretch that foot down a little bit more now. And come back up. Whew. Maybe flick out your wrists if you got the death grip going on. And switch legs. Right foot steps up into the left strap, holding one strap on each hand. Take your foot forward so the thighs are aligned. I like to circle the strap around my hand so I don't have to squeeze as much. That's my idea, my hope. Okay, and begin to play with in pulling the foot back to get the head of the femur bone grounded. Maybe do some pulses. Pull back and then stop pulling. Let your hip unintegrate. Pull back, let it unintegrate. So you can start to feel that this pulling helps take the head of the femur bone and nestles it deeper into the hip socket in a way that provides pressure in the back of the pelvis. Keep that, soften the shoulder, draw the shoulders back, back of the ribs back, head back, and now push out through your foot into the resistance of the strap. Maybe squeeze your glute, push, spread the toes, and then start to use your arms, little seesaw action, bending at the elbows, even seeing if you can stay neutral through the ribs, keep the ribs stabilized as you saw at the foot, taking the strap down to the front of the heel bone. People get bone spurs here as the fascia pulls hard on the calcaneus bone, and then take the strap up to the ball of the foot. Spread the toes. And then let's work this foot up so it's more over the hip and pulling down with the strap so the head of the femur bone grounds, stabilizing through the belly so it doesn't pop anything up. Work the strap up to the ball of the foot and pull back. Pulling the toes back, stretching up through the heel. Notice if your foot is turned one direction compared to your ankle. And then let's overpower this with our point. Push up through the strap. Let the strap slide through your hands as you push on the gas pedal. And then use your hands, pull the toes back. Point the foot, gas pedal. Pull back with some resistance so you get the calf to point. And then come to neutral. Hold on to the straps. Left hand comes to the ribs, the belly, giving you information about what's happening at your core. Stabilize yourself and then open up, maybe on an exhale, right leg towards the right, and then pull it in. I'm practicing self-control. It's like maturity. Don't go too far. This next time when you go into it, see if you can integrate your hip a little bit better and then come into a position you're going to hold. In that position, again, pulling from the foot, grounding into the hip socket, belly engages. From the core of the pelvis, push the foot into the strap. And you get some more stability at your core from what you're doing at the hip. Try to pull the back of the left rib down, back of the left shoulder down. Maybe take the right pinky edge of the foot a little bit closer towards the floor. And then bring the leg back up to center. Take your straps around the front of your shin. So I'm holding my strap. I'm going to take it in front of my shin, and then I'm going to bend my elbows to pull me into a little ball. And then in my little ball, rock side to side. Try to get your knees all the way up towards your chest. And then rock and roll. You can use your strap with some momentum. Coming all the way up to sitting. Hold it, your strap. Bend your elbows out to the side like a chicken. And then lean back a little bit. Scoop your pelvis under. A little stretch through the low back. Come on up. Let's come up to standing. If you want, you could, let's actually, since we have them, grab your stick or broom. You don't really need one for this. So if you have like a weird broom, you can probably just balance just fine without it. Okay, so we're going to review the stable and mobile parts of the body. Okay, so the foot, the ankle, the toes, we want those to be pretty stable in general. So let's skip the toes. Let's go to the ankle. We want the ankle to be mobile. Okay, so bring the toenails to the floor and then do a slow circle. I talk about the feet so much. The feet are so important because they are so tend to lose their mobility. If you see people as they age, the ankles, they lose the mobility. And then knee injuries happen, hip injuries happen, falls happen. So we want to, if we know we're going to lose ankle mobility, we want to work to maintain that. And they're the foundation of our body. If we want to be centered over our axis, the way kind of our bodies were built, we need a good foundation. Okay, take your circle in the other direction. On second side. You might notice is one foot less mobile than the other. And if it is, does that knee maybe bother you more or back? And then take your circle the other direction. If you're someone who had really weak ankles, you wouldn't want to overdo the mobility. You want to strengthen the foot as we do the mobility. That's why we work on our pushing so much through the feet. Okay, first side again. And then we're gonna, so the knee, lift your knee up. The knee is a stable joint. It's supposed to just bend forward and back. We want to have the stability to not allow the knee to twist. But if the ankle gets stuck or the hip gets stuck, the knee's going to take the brunt and change its nature because the hip and ankle don't have the mobility. Okay, so we want to make sure that the knee bends forward and back, and we don't let the knees bend, push all the way back. Okay, other side. And then look as you bend your knee, how does your foot line up with your knee? From my foot injury, my foot likes to go out to the left. So I get knee pain. So I have to work at keeping that joint, that tibia fibula from rotating. Okay, and then the hip is a mobile joint. So we're gonna do our CAR. So remember, as we do this, we're trying to isolate. CAR's controlled joint articulation. We're trying to just isolate the hip. So notice Let's actually review all of the, so strong feet, strong knees, strong core, ribs back, shoulders back, roof of the mouth over the tailbone. So trying to keep everything isolated. So we're just getting true movement of the hip. Okay, so lift up through the left knee. Okay, we're gonna do external rotation. Imagine you're doing it through mud. So it's like you're creating resistance as you do it. Turn the hip out. And then we're gonna try not to let the pelvis go under. Push down through the standing foot. Now put your finger on the outside of your left knee so you can apply a little bit of resistance as you use your hip to abduct. And then from here, we're going to internally rotate, but go slow. Maybe a hand comes to the inside to provide resistance as you turn your leg in. Try to keep your low back from overarching. Try to point the knee down to the floor. So let it go all the way down and then take the knee back up. So that's one car. Hip rotates out. Squeezing the body. So you're trying to control it through the hip. This should be very hard. Last one. Push through your standing leg, belly in. Try not to let your low back get more arched as you internally rotate. And up. Nice. Second side. So standing through, notice if you let the hip stick out or the knee stand as you do your hips. Okay. Pushing down, notice the head, right? Trying to align with our center. My problem is I always feel like very bitchy. Like I feel like if I walk like this, I just feel like I think I'm better than everyone. And my head forward, like humble, you know? We're all equal here. But no, it's not true. This is the alignment, Kim. Okay, knee up. External rotation. Abduction. Pushing into the back of the hands. You're firing the back of the leg. Maybe hand comes to the inside as you rotate the thigh in, inner thigh up. As the knee comes in, the knee closes. And then take the knee up. Maybe even push into the hand as you take it up. So it has to work. External rotation. Abduction. Internal rotation. Adduction. Flexion. External rotation. Abduction. Where's your head? Is it on? And back up. Whew. Nice. Okay. And then we have our low back from our sacrum up to the base of our thoracic spine. The low back's meant to be a stable joint. It's meant to just go forward and back a little bit, but it turns into a mobile joint and people get injuries there. So the hip mobile, low back, we want to keep stable. That's that low belly in. That's how we support so the low back doesn't do whatever it wants. And then it's the ribs that rotate. Let's grab a block. Actually, let's squeeze the block between your thighs. Little bend in your knees, so creating some stability. So, and then take your hands on your hips and turn your hips. So you imagine the sacrum and the, like that SI joint, it's so delicate where the sacrum meets the hips right here. Can you feel, even put your thumbs right there at the base of your spine where those little dimples like will be, and rotate. And you can see how that like could cause that little tiny hinge joint to like get upset. So we want to keep the hips stable. And then it's the rib cage, the thoracic spine that rotates. So now take your hands on your hips. Don't let your hips move, and rotate at the rib cage, ribs in. If your ribs are up, then you're collapsing on the back of your organs, ribs in. So this is the place we want to rotate at. Rotate all the way over to the right and hold it. As you rotate to the right, try to turn the hips a little bit to the left. Try to pull the left glute back. Notice the head. Try to pull it back. Notice the left shoulder. Try to pull it back. And then come to the center, turn to the left. Notice the part of the right body that gets excited and is like, I'm coming along. And try to be like, hold now, child. Okay, so if you're feeling it in the knee, that means that the knee is probably not stable and the knee is taking the rotation. So with a little bend in your knees, squeeze at your feet, try to be aware of when you let the knee rotate and stop before that happens. Think about the knees like headlights facing forward and twist your ribs. So it's fascinating. The movement's going to go to the least mobile place up the chain. Awesome. Okay, now hold the ribs like a little teddy bear. Try to keep the pelvis neutral, okay? And we're going to circle just the ribs. So strong feet, get your arches to pop those arches. That just means try to get them to lift. I just came up with that. Push down to the feet so the arches lift. Little bend in the knees so you don't hyperextend them. Move the thumb. So head of the femur bones, that where the femur goes into the pelvis, that's the hip. That's mobile, okay? So set that up in a way that the pelvis is neutral. Low belly strengthens. Okay, now we're just trying to move the thoracic spine, okay? So do a little, holding your block, do a little circle. Don't collapse in the back body. Other direction. And the mobility of this thoracic spine. Fun fact, your thoracic spine, the one that meets right here, the bottom part of it acts like the lumbar spine, so it goes forward and back, and the top portion of it twists like a thoracic spine. Okay, lower your block down. Then your neck, your cervical spine that we tend to stick forward, it's supposed to be stable. It's supposed to be this little C here. Our head's like a bowling ball. Can you imagine holding a bowling ball from the top of the bowling ball like this? It would be a lot of weight for this arm to hold back. But if you hold the bowling ball like that, it's pretty easy. So that's the idea of our cervical spine. It holds the head over the body. And then the place it's supposed to rotate, the top two vertebrae of the neck. So it's like you can almost put your neck where it's supposed to be, like hold it like a brace. And then it's from like these top two vertebrae that rotate the head. Right? It's like, oh, there's some genius to our design. If only our habits didn't pull us out of it. Okay, so we're gonna keep all of that in mind as we do our practice. So grab your strap, or not your strap, your stick. Grab your stick. Take it behind your back. And one hand behind your head and one hand at your low back. Normally when I teach, I'll just have one hand behind the head and one hand at the low back. And I'm like, imagine there's a stick behind your ribs, because people then will just do this. Ribs, like my head and my butt are back. So butt pushes into the stick, head pushes into the stick, ribs pull into the stick, okay? Bend your knees, stick your butt out and try to get your spine straight to the parallel to the floor. Butt has to pull back, ribs have to pull back, head has to pull back. Now push into your feet, draw back into your stick as you stand up. So as you push down, try to push your head into the stick. Laying down, hold the stick with your spine, and then up, hinge, up. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Lift your top arm up, bottom arm. It doesn't matter, we're just switching. That's a fun way to do it. So before we were doing like squat to Tadasana. This is Uttanasana. Use your legs. Legs pull you up. Back body pulls you up. Strengthening our ability to hold our center. Okay. And then top of the feet. Notice if you have something by you. Okay, we're done with that. Awesome. Let's downward facing dog. We'll just go there. In your downward facing dog, imagine that your hands all the way up to your hips were like bifurcated, like cut in two. So you had a front part of your body and a back part of your body. And notice if your body is leaning towards the front body. Are your shoulders dropping? Are your ribs popping? Are your fingertips or finger pads lifting up? And let's try to find our back body here. So engage the feet, push through the balls of the feet. Little bend in the knees. Notice if they're twisting. Try to point them forward. Try to take the head of the femur bones back into the hip sockets. These are all like pretty small movements. Pull your belly in so that the low back is getting supported. Pull the front of the ribs in, back of the ribs, pull to the back body. Shoulder scapulas come onto the back and the arm bones pull to the back body. The throat pulls back slightly so you're not looking at your belly button. And then push out with all that integration, push down through your feet and out through your hands. Come forward towards plank. Knees can be down. So in plank, like the ribs will drop, the head will come forward. So imagine that the ceiling has lowered on you. Try to pull your heels up. Knees stay strong, top of the thighs lift up. Low belly pulls up. Arm bones pull back, throat pulls up. Keep all that pulling up as you bend your elbows 1 inch. Keep pulling back up and then straighten the arms. Bend the elbows. Keep pulling yourself towards the back body, even as you hold chaturanga, and then come all the way down. Did that kind of make sense? The idea? Okay. Forehead on the floor. Notice if the head of the arm bones are pointing down to the floor. These are like spider arms. Try to squeeze the shoulders up, right? So let them come down for a moment. Tap into your body's awareness in your back. Can you feel those muscles screaming, ah, I need to hold you together. So help them out. Scapulas are stable. They're supposed to stay on the back. And then the head of the arm bones are what's mobile, the shoulder joint. Can you keep your scapulas on the back and then backward circle your shoulders? Okay, and then hold them on your back again. Pull your belly button into your spine. And then lift your whole right leg up. Try to keep your right leg straight. I like to point my leg here and then try to internally rotate it. Inner thigh lifts up more, inner knee lifts up more, and then stretch out more through the right pinky toe. Belly stays in, shoulders stay on the back. Lower the right leg down, left leg lifts up, full leg. Engage the leg and spin it in like you're turning in a light bulb at your hip. Not just at your ankle, the whole leg. So that as you turn the inner ankle up, you get a widening in your low back, belly in. Lower the leg. Strong legs, inhale, curl cobra. Only lift as much as you can hold with no hands. Take your hands behind your back or your head. Chin slightly in, push your head back into your hands, belly in, feet down. And then push into your hands, downward facing dog. Whew. Feeling it. Inhale, the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step the right foot forward between your hands. Hands could come to blocks or fingertips on the floor. Bring your awareness to your back body. And for a moment, let's do an excited moving to the front body position. So if you were just like so excited, The collapse, what would your collapse look like? Probably be this back hip down, like head forward. See if you can find this strength as you're using your front leg to push down. That's the back leg strength. And then your left thigh lift up. The butt, the femur, the hip lifts up. Low back is stabilized. Ribs are either pulled in or forward, depending on what you need. And then try to lengthen forward through the crown of your head. Take your hands to the back of your hairline. There's that little like in bump there. That's where those two vertebrae are. Try to push that up to the sky, but don't let your hands let you. Take one hand to your low back. Imagine you had your stick, so your ribs are pulling back. And then use the back body to pull yourself up, lunge. Yeah, spine upright, head over hips. Check out your line. And try to get yourself more stacked, nice and strong, hinge forward. And then up. Forward. Up. And open your arms up like a cactus. Open your elbows up so much that the head of the arm bones push forward. We want them back, so only let the elbows come as far as your shoulders, but keep trying to push them back. And try to activate the muscles between your scapulas. Pull back, push your head back, pull your ribs back. Feel like you're leaning into this back reservoir of life force energy, and then hinge your back knee so it hovers. Keep leaning back. A little stretch over to the right. A little stretch over to the left. Oh, ribs in, try not to let yourself pop. One more. Okay, hinge forward, left fingertips to the floor. Take the left hand wide, right hand comes behind the head. Rotate the chest, so the ribs, okay, focus on this. Hips stay neutral. Rotate at the ribs to the right. So the hips aren't what rotating, it's the ribs. Push your head back into your hands. Squeeze your scapulas back, pull the ribs back, belly in, pull the booty back. You find this back line strength here as you revolve around your center. Unwind, plant your hands, downward facing dog. I had a client remind me yesterday, they said, are you just projecting your anxieties on the situation? And I feel like that's the body position I normally take. That's it. If my head's forward, I'm projecting some kind of anxiety out there. So notice if you're doing it in your down dog. Keep the arm bones lifted. So you're pulling to the back body. Yeah. And the back of the ribs too, the kidney area. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Maybe do your like, what would my collapse be here? Or maybe notice like the way the back just doesn't activate at all. It's like, it's different. Now try to find that strength of hip up, heel back, belly and ribs in, arm bones back, throat up and back, chin slightly tucked. We're trying to work that line. Okay? Take your hands to your occiput. Try to push the head back. Don't let it move. Try to fight the break in the core, and then work one hand to your low back. Do the hand that doesn't feel natural for you. And then from the back of the body, push the head back, pull yourself up. Ribs pull back. Hinge forward at the hips. Pelvis rotating over the femur bones. And then pull yourself back. So the low back doesn't move, it's stable. It's the hips, the pelvis rotating over the femur bones. Pull up. Cactus the arms. Find the strength as you pull the arms back. Shoulders pull together. Ribs stay knit in. Belly stays in. Hover the back knee. As you do, it's like where you're between two planes of glass. Okay, so you're trying to keep integrated. The ribs are going to want to pop. Things are going to want to twist. I think we did it twice last time. Oh yeah, psoas. So right there, Natasha, can you feel this? That's a psoas stretch. Yeah. Oh, whew. Lean forward. So right fingertips are on the floor, left hand comes to your low back. Lift the thighs up. Integrate the pelvis so the low back gets longer. Then slide your hand up farther to your ribs. And notice if the ribs drop down, try to pull the back of the ribs up into your hand. Now take the hand behind your head, keeping the pelvis where it is, squeeze your muscles so that you can rotate at the rib cage, the thoracic spine. Head pushes into your hand as you help activate through the back chain. Shoulders squeeze together, hips pull back. Unwind. Plant your hands, step back. Either move through a vinyasa, meditation, down dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky. Bend your right knee. And then bring your right knee towards your chest, but stay in down dog. Imagine you had a finger on the outside of your right knee to provide some resistance, and then abduct your hips, lift it out to the side. Try to control the core and shoulders from twisting, bring it back in. Abduct. Bring it back in. Abduct. And then step that foot all the way forward between your hands. Lift the hips, widen your left hand. Pull back through your core, twisted high runner's lunge. Feel that like inner maturity of integrating and pulling back. And then pivot both of your feet to the left, wide leg forward fold. See if you can find your stick. Or go hand behind head, hand behind low back. And set it up again so you have one of the stick lined up. Try to point your stick towards the right foot. Zena, the sticks are over there if you want one. Oh, okay. Oh, it's hidden from my... And then point your stick over to the other side. And then come back through center. Push the back of the head into the stick until you come up a little bit. Find your back body strength. Little bend in your knees, engage your glutes. Come up. Hinge forward halfway. Pull to the back body. Come up. Awesome. Take your stick forward in front of your left toes and then bend into your back knee. Bend the knee towards the ankle. So the knee towards, so bend away from me. So that one, yeah. Put a little bend and you can lean forward with the stick. Stick your butt out and try to widen through the back of your pelvis. Awesome. Push down into your stick, find stability. Shift the weight towards the back foot, your left foot, and then lift the right leg out to the side, forward. And then we're going to take that leg all the way back. Warrior 3. Core is engaged. This is where the stick comes in. Holding the stick, come all the way up. Holding the stick, warrior 3 with the stick or without. Up and back. Okay, in your warrior three with your stick, try to find your back body. Take a hand behind your head. Try to push your heel up without moving it, thigh up without moving it, low back up, ribs up, shoulders up, head up. Come back up. Abduct. Right knee. Point it forward. I'll turn to the side so you guys can see me. So move it to the side. Take one hand behind your head. Push the head head into hand as you squeeze the knee back. You know, stretch out through that leg. And we're going to slow motion step forward. Warrior two. Take your strap behind your shoulders. Drop your hands over it. Front knee over your ankle. Back hip. Notice if you're leaning forward somehow. Do a little reverse. And a little forward. We're just going back and forth a little bit here. The legs stay strong and pelvic, strong and stable. Okay, and then next time you come forward, place your stick on the ground, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Keep the shoulders lifted, core in, push the hands down, pull the knee into your belly. Abduct the knee, open it out to the side. And bring it down. Abduct, slice it out. Hand down. Abduct. And then step your foot forward between your hand. High runner's lunge twist. Widen the right fingertips. Left hand comes behind the head. Notice if the back hip is your right hip dropping. If it is, that can indicate you're twisting more at your low back. Keep the right hip lifted, stabilize the low back, and then rotate at the ribs. If you're twisting at your head, can the head twist come from the top two vertebrae? And then unwind, twist to the right, grab your stick with you. And then we'll hook up our stick. We're hitting behind the head and the low back. If you can remember, try to do the side you haven't done. And then try to stick your stick out so it can be on the floor, so you can be supported here for a little bit. And then with the stick on the floor, drag it over to the left. And then drag the stick over to the right. And then drag the stick back through center. Activate the legs by shifting into the balls of the feet, little bend in the knees so the feet are rooted front and back. Stick the butt up and then begin to lift till you're halfway. Integrate from the back body, use the posterior chain. Bam, come up. Excuse me. Hook up your stick now over your shoulders, drape your arms. This is like a little rest for your arms. Left foot points forward. Bend your knee over your ankle, warrior two. Strong feet. Notice your knees. Are they stable or are they twisting and pointing in different directions? Try to stabilize them so they're kind of positioned in the direction of the toes. And then your hip, your femur bones, is it like leaning forward? Keep it pulled back, belly in. And then with the legs stable, and the ribs drawn in. So tip both ways. Oh, so good. And then one of these times, come over again, stick comes down. Downward facing dog. Oh, I forgot something. You guys, come back, come back. Forgot something very important. Come back up to standing, stand at the back of your mat. Actually, let's do wide legs. Wide legs. Sorry. Then the stick back by your right foot, and then bend into your right knee. So it's like modified skandasana, leaning forward. Or like a one-legged lunge. Look at all those muscles jumping for joy. Okay, now weight bear into the stick. Shift weight to the right foot. See if you can lift your left foot up, abduct, and then take it back. Warrior 3. See, we didn't want to miss this. Take your hand to your hip, one hand to your hip, one hand holds the stick. I'm holding the stick with my right hand, and then come all the way up. Try to find that straight line. We're trying to keep it the same. The only thing we're trying to have move is the right hip, pelvis rotating over the femur bone, and come back up and go down. Warrior 3 and come up. Okay, now pin to the front of the mat, reach your foot forward, downward facing dog. There we go, there we go. Okay, inhale, right leg up to the sky. Open your right hip, right leg stays straight. And try to pull that foot up, up, up. Now bend the knee and reach your foot towards the wall behind you. Try to twist from your ribs. And then step your right foot forward between your hands. Ground your left heel to the floor. Pinky edge of the foot parallel to the back of your yoga mat. Right forearm comes to your thigh. Left hand comes behind your head. Parsvakonasana. Strong feet, bum pushes back. Core pulls back, shoulders pull back, head pushes back into the hand. Stay here, or optional bottom hand comes to low back, so you're just supporting yourself with your muscles. Ooh. And then come all the way up through Warrior 2. Straighten your front leg. Bend, pivot your front foot in. Hands to your back knee, bend into your back knee. Activate your foot, knee over your ankle, push down into your left foot and lift your right foot up. Take the leg back, Warrior 3. If you fall down, that's fine. Just come back into this Warrior 3 facing at an angle on the side of your mat. Take one hand behind your head, one hand to your low back. Push into your standing foot, come up. And then come forward. Maybe you're just doing a few inches down and a few inches up. You don't need to go all the way to parallel. And then we're going to hold Warrior 3. Right hand, left hand to your hip, right hand falls to the floor. Reach it to the floor so much the shoulder unplugs, and then squeeze the shoulder up. Unplug, squeeze the shoulder up. Unplug, squeeze the shoulder up. Okay, now come all the way up. Hands behind your head. Abduct the knee. Stretch it forward. Whew. Look forward, maybe use a block, press up and balance, Ardha Chandrasana. Right hand comes to the block, left hand to your hip. Timba. Okay, try to keep your foot in line with your hip. So don't let the foot come farther behind your body. And then imagine there's a wall behind you that you could squeeze back into, push the ankle back into without letting it move. The hip, the low back, rib, shoulders, head. And downward facing dog. All right, last standing side. Inhale, left leg up. Open the hip. Try to lift the outer edge of the foot up to the sky, activating through that line more, and then do a little turn back of the right hip. So you're getting more of this twist to happen at the ribs, protecting your SI joint. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Modified Parsvakonasana, right heel to the floor. Left hand will work behind the head. Integrate. Pull back. Maybe free the bottom arm to come to your low back. Pushing out through the feet. And then come all the way upright. Release the arms, push the left foot away. Leg straightens, turn the left foot in. Modified Skandasana, bend into the back knee. We're using this as a transition. Shift the weight towards the right foot. Left foot lifts up. We're making our way towards Warrior Three. So however you want to get there. And see if you can start to use more of your strength of holding your center, that you don't need your hand on your thigh. One hand behind your head, one hand to your low back. And then come all the way upright. Try to find your line and then see how much you can tip it forward. Practice is more being holding our center than distance traveled. Hands behind the head. Abduct the leg. Stretch it forward. Reach the left arm forward. Ardha Chandrasana. Peek at your foot and your knee. Have you put them in a skillful action place? Try to find the strength of your back body as you lean back, without collapsing. Really nice. Let the right foot meet the left. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Right. Bend your knees, come to sit on your bum. Butt on the floor, hands behind your back, fingers face towards your butt. A backward shoulder roll. Oh, hey, then we're gonna do reverse table. So fingertips, knuckle ridges strong. Push through the feet, lift up through the front body. Feel the strength of the hips and the hamstrings holding you up. And then lower down. Turn the hands out away from each other. Do a little side to side, press and lean, so you know, stretch the wrist. Notice if the wrists roll or collapse a certain direction. Can you keep your hand pretty evenly weighted as you go side to side? And then come through center, shoulders on the back. A little bend in the elbows if you're a hyperextender, and then hips lift. Try to peel the heart open. Oh. And then down. There. Turn the hands towards the wall behind you. Fingertips, knuckle ridges strong. If that doesn't seem wise for your arms, don't do it. Stop at the left stop before. Lift the hips up. And come on down. Okay, modified position. Lift your feet up. Hands are strong. Rotate your feet from one side to the other. Keep the back of your ribs and low back lifted, so you're gonna twist at the thoracic spine. And then we're gonna stop with the feet over at the right. Push down through your right hand. Take your left hand behind your head. Push your head into your hands. Try to squeeze the shoulders back towards each other. Free your left knee, lift your left knee up to the sky, and then plant your left foot on the floor in front of your right shin. No, right in front of the shin, yeah. And then the foot's facing towards the wall behind you. Nope, oh, sorry, on the back of it, Liz, yeah. And then bring your foot a little bit further forward so the whole heel can be down. And come back through center. Feet go up and over to the left. Push the left hand down, right hand comes behind the head. Free the right knee up, the right knee spins up, and then the whole foot plants on the floor. Squeeze into the back body. Let the back body support you as you open up. And come back around. Really nice. Okay, apex pose option. Repeat that. Or we're gonna do the same thing, and you can even do it from like more of a table than modified plank if you want. So my knees are gonna come all the way to the right, hand behind my head and pushing away. I'm gonna take my top foot up and I'm gonna plant it on the floor. So not over here, not out here, just like right there, okay? This is the option. Pushing into the foot and the hand, free the other foot, reverse table with the head support. Oh, so good. When you're ready, come on up. My second side, feet lift up and go over to the left. Right hand supports the head. Lift up the right foot, plant the foot. Feel the right foot and left hand really strongly weighted as you free the left foot and plant it. Lift up through the front of the body. Let the front of the body be supported by the back of the body. Try to feel the strength to pull back as you open. Really nice. Come on up. So let's come to a wide leg. See, let's do big hip circles. I like to hold on to my knees as I go back. Whee! The other direction. Whee! And then with the hands behind your back, lean back a little bit. I'm trying to not collapse. And then the right leg, engage the right foot, and then turn the whole right leg in, and then turn it out. Whole leg turns in and out. Notice if your foot or your knee move faster than your hip. Yeah. And then other side, left leg in and out. Reminding our body of its wisdom. The hip moves, body, the hip moves. Okay, now going to the right leg again. We're going to pull the right foot in so it's bent. And then lift and spread the toes. Right knee comes in. It might not go all the way to the floor. And then the right leg tips out. And out. Keep the low belly into the spine. Out. As it tips out, sit up, pull that foot in. Turn towards your left, so I'm not mirroring. Take your right hand to the outside edge of the left thigh. Left hand comes behind the back. Instead of folding down, we're going to find our back body strength. Push your butt down and then lean back. Pull your head back. Squeeze your shoulders back. Pull your ribs back. As you get into this back body strength, try to lengthen up through the head as you push down through the butt. And switch. Send the right leg out. Bend the left knee. Low belly stays in. As you work this internal and external rotation at the hip. And the next time it turns out, we're going to sit up, pull that left foot in. Janu-Sirsasana. Heel can pull into the left groin or heel can pull into the right leg. Left hand holds behind the right thigh on the outside, right hand behind the back. Flex your foot, push your legs down, pull back. Squeeze both of the shoulders back. Lean back like you're trying to pull something heavy up off of the floor. Waking up these muscles that hold us up. Really nice. And then come back through center. You can pull your knees in for meditation, or you can lay back on your back for Shavasana. Just this posture of the head being forward shows how much we try to figure everything out by leading with the head. And yet we just experience the wisdom of the body. It knows how to hold itself these ways, and these movements are intrinsic to it. So it's letting your wisdom of your body like reintegrate into you, and to let go of that mind's need to figure it out. And if you're on your back, begin to make your way up to a meditation. And see if you can orient to that inner strength that can support you upright. And carry your hands up to your heart. Let's end with one Om, seeing if you can tap into the sound moving up from your tailbone through the top of your head, which should feel more like a channel with it held upright. Let's do a little round of breath first. So full in, suspend, out through the mouth. Here we go, inhale. Om. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.